Hey guys, it's Todd from Like Minded Lunatics, bringing you yet another drink, play, swear. Hey, it's all we do around here. I mean, besides hanging out at the CD store, trying to be the first one in our friend group to discover the next cool band, it's all we ever really cared to do around here. Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Like Minded Lunatics, and welcome back to Drink, Play, Swear. You already know this, that Like Minded Lunatics is not just Drink, Play, Swear, it's also my buddy, good friend, and writing partner, Mark Gifford, doing the Friday night videos. If you're not watching the Friday night videos, you're not watching the best stuff on YouTube as far as I'm concerned, so please check those out. And hey, where's my finger? Bang! Please hit that subscribe button to help show us that you are a part of this family of like-minded lunatics. We are growing every day, and it makes us happy, really does motivate us to create more content for you. All right, so what do we do here at Drink, Play, Swear? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like, and look at the epic 16-bit glory of these graphics. We play a game, usually a classic one, I pair it with a beverage, and I tell you a story. What are we playing today? Check this out. It's Battletoads Double Dragon, the Ultimate Team. And we're pairing it today with another ultimate combination that is a Jim Beam and Coke. Get yourself something, please. All right, this game came out in that crossover period between the NES and the Super Nintendo. So there is an NES version of this that's just fine, but as soon as I found out that there was a Super Nintendo version and that it looks like this, I had to play this one instead. The Super Nintendo, especially in the first couple of years when they were showing off the capabilities they had, is such a great system. And check out this soundtrack. Can you hear this? I dig it. All right, now I feel like I have to be a Battletoad, don't you think? Because, like, I'm gonna be the cool guy. I'm gonna be Rash. So I missed out on both of these franchises as a kid. I didn't really know about that famous Battletoads game, and I didn't have any of the Double Dragon games. I didn't, and you know, it was one of those franchises, Double Dragon, that everyone would ask you, you know, when they found out you had a Nintendo, oh, do you have Double Dragon? Or oh, do you have Battletoads? It was sort of like as common as Contra or something, and I just never had them. I don't know why. And so I'm excited to try this out today. Not familiar with this game, but I saw that it was a beat 'em up, and so I just thought I'd pick it up and we could see how it goes. Looks like 2 buttons only, even though, you know, the Super Nintendo is a little more sophisticated in the amount of buttons, but it's just kind of a jump and a punch. All right. Well, why do I mention that I missed out on these franchises? Well, it's because today, in the story, I want to talk about something else I missed in my childhood, and it actually happened around the same time that this game was released. This was released in the mid-90s, and the mid-90s were the time in my life that I was discovering music, and the music that I would come to love. Because you grow up, and I've told stories on the channel before about the fact that when you grow up, you're basically listening to whatever your parents are listening to, or you're listening to what you see on, you know, in film and television. But I want that. I don't know what it is, but I want it. But when I turned 13 in 1994 is when I started using my allowance to buy my own CDs. I've told before on the channel my first 2 CDs, Green Day Dookie and Offspring Smash. I was watching a lot of MTV. I was hanging out at the CD store. I mean, it sounds so much cooler to call it a record shop, but I have to admit we weren't saying that in the 90s. I will feel free as I choose to call it a record store now. And we were learning everything we could from rock radio in San Antonio 99.5 KISS, or we would do KZEP for the oldies, right? And by oldies we meant the 70s and 80s. You're learning as much as you can. Well, one band that I missed out on was probably the biggest. Look at that dude. That dude's not even a mid-boss or a boss. He's just a regular bad guy that just like, well, he knocked me on my ass, didn't he? Okay. So one band, probably the biggest rock and roll band of the 90s. I never owned a single CD from them. And that band is Nirvana. So today I want to talk about my Nirvana memories related to the fact that, yeah, I gotta admit, I missed out. And I know that's like, you know, finding out that somebody who lived in the 60s never listened to the Beatles, or finding out somebody who was a young person in the 70s never listened to Zeppelin or Sabbath. I have to admit that I didn't have a single Nirvana record. And it's not because I didn't like their sound. It's not because I didn't like their music. And it's not that I didn't know their music. I mean, if you say you didn't know Nirvana in 1991 or 1992, you just were living under a rock. I mean, Smells Like Teen Spirit, that video was on MTV at the top of the hour. Every hour. I don't care if Yo MTV Raps was on. Somehow that song was on, right? Biggest song of that generation. So I knew the singles. I absolutely knew the singles. But I didn't own a single record. I didn't know any of the B-sides or those deep tracks that true fans knew, right? I knew maybe 3 songs or something, 4 songs, something like that. Why? Why did I never just find them? Well, here's why. I told you I got into music when I was 13. I got into music in 1994. Well, music fans will know, especially Nirvana fans will know, that 1994 was a big year because 1994, 1 month after I turned 13, Kurt Cobain died. And I was shocked to find out how many people in my life were devastated, were seriously affected. I came to school that day. It was in April 94. Uh-oh, boss time. Okay. I'm going to get smoked by this dude. I already know that. I think it was April 94. I come to school one day, and there are people not just upset. They are crying. There are people in the hallway sitting around in a circle, crying, sobbing into their Kurt Cobain t-shirts, sobbing, using them, like Kleenex. And the boom boxes were on. They were listening to their stereos. This was never allowed. Now, I know in movies from the 80s and the 90s, you always see some kid walking around with a boom box listening to music. There was no music being played in the hallways of my school. My assistant principal, Mr. Green, right? He just shut that stuff down right away. Military man, right? But on this day, they let kids listen to music. They let kids loiter, sit around the halls. They even let kids skip class because they were so upset. Now, you might say, Todd, why didn't this draw you to the music? Why didn't this make you seek it out, make you learn more? I gotta tell you, man, at that age and at that time, there was a word that people threw around. It was a term used to describe people, and you never wanted it to be used about you. It's not a racial epithet. It's not a sexist term. It's not a homophobic slur. It's not even being called a geek, a dweeb, or a nerd. The thing that I was so obsessed with not being called at that age, and admittedly, I hope many of my friends were as well. Look at that, I got smoked. And look at this. These days, we advise against bullying and everything. And of course, bullying is dangerous, but I like in the game that you're sort of bullied by that bird dude. I don't even know the relationship with that bird dude to me. Like I said, I'm not familiar. Anyway, the term that I'm looking for, that I want to share with you, that was being used so much in the 90s, was poser. That's right, man. You never wanted to be called a poser. And a poser was someone who was pretending to be something they weren't. And I felt like if I jumped on the Nirvana bandwagon precisely after he'd passed away, I'd be thought a poser. Well, it sounds ridiculous to you, but let me illustrate this point by talking to you about something that happened to some dude at the lunch table, okay, freshman year. We're sitting at the lunch table, and one day this kid comes to the table wearing a Beastie Boys shirt. Well, if you came to school wearing a shirt from a musical group, you were definitely going to get questioned, okay? You don't just show up. Like in my school, I've told stories before on the YouTube channel. If you show up wearing a Metallica shirt, you better be able to name every album they ever made, the order of the tracks, what the rare track was on the first album that you can only get in Mexico, right? You got to be an expert before the internet. You got to be an expert on this stuff. And this kid wearing a Beastie Boys shirt, somebody asked him what his favorite song was, what his favorite record was. And he revealed that he didn't know anything about the Beastie Boys and that his dad was a music promoter and had gotten him a shirt, okay, at at the concert. Do you think we said, "Oh, cool, that's awesome that your dad's a rock promoter"? Do you think we said, "Nice shirt, dude, you should really get into them," and maybe even shared with them like, "Oh, you should get in, oh, the best album is Ill Communication," and then your buddy go, "No, dude, the best album is Paul's Boutique." This is a tough first boss. Try harder next time, this guy's saying. We didn't say that. We didn't encourage him. No, what we did is we made him feel dumb for not already knowing it. Because that's your job when you're a teenage boy, is like every little piece of knowledge you have in the world is a weapon, and you use it against anyone who doesn't have it. So in that context, of course, not knowing Nirvana well enough ahead of time forced me naively to not pursue them. I found my own groups. I did, and for me, it wasn't Nirvana. It wasn't Pearl Jam. Honestly, for me, it was Stone Temple Pilots. It was Alice in Chains, and it was those groups. I mean, they were all sort of like, related and very similar, but it was territorial for us for some reason. We had our bands, and for some reason, maybe 100% because of this idea of being called a poser. And how silly is that? I was not able to call Nirvana one of my bands. But I have to admit that I like Nirvana now more than I ever have, and I listen to them more than I ever did as a kid, and have come to truly appreciate them. So, I don't know, I guess, is there a message here? Not really, but just that like the stuff you like, and I've said that before on the channel. Who cares what people think? Like the stuff you like and enjoy it. All right, I'm going to take one more crack at this boss here. Definitely going to lose, but I'm going to do that off camera because you're done with me, and I'm done with you. So, thanks for being with us here, posers. In between now and the next time I talk to you, I guess I'm a bully, and I'm Todd. See ya.